The galaxy was quiet. Stars burned in silence, and planets circled their suns like obedient children. But this peace did not belong to everyone. For hundreds of years, a powerful alien empire had moved across the stars. They called themselves the Dominion. Their fleets were large, their weapons strong, and their armies without mercy. World after world fell before them. Civilizations that had built cities, cultures, and histories of thousands of years were erased in only a few days. The strange truth was that no one resisted them. Every planet surrendered before the first battle was even fought. The Dominion believed it was destiny. Their commanders said, "The weak bow to the strong. This is the law of the galaxy." And so they conquered without resistance. Inside the Great Hall of the Dominion Council, alien leaders met around a glowing star map. Their voices echoed in the chamber as one after another spoke about their victories. "The Valor system has been taken," one alien reported. "The Irulan colonies offered no fight," another added. "Another 10 worlds have been absorbed into the Dominion," a third voice said proudly. The council was pleased. Their empire stretched farther with every passing cycle. To them, war had become routine. Victory was always certain. Resistance was a word they had forgotten. But far from their capital, in a small outpost at the edge of Dominion space, something unusual happened. A signal. It was weak, almost lost in the background noise of space. The outpost scanners caught it by accident. A strange pulse, repeating again and again. The officer on duty frowned. His large black eyes blinked as he turned to his superior. "Commander, there is something unusual. A signal from outside our borders." The commander walked over, irritated. "Another lost probe? Or a dying satellite?" "No, sir," the officer said carefully. "It carries structure. A pattern. It is not random." The commander leaned closer, studying the lines of data. The signal was strange. Too structured, too deliberate. And there was something else. Inside the noise, there was language. Unknown symbols, repeating with clear intention. The commander straightened. "Send it to the council immediately." When the signal reached the Dominion Council, the chamber filled with confusion. The alien leaders had not seen anything like this in a very long time. "It is not from any of our colonies," one leader said. "It does not match any known ally," another added. The star map in the middle of the hall shifted, and the location of the signal appeared. It came from deep space, far from the usual trade routes, near a region of stars unimportant to the Dominion. The Council's supreme voice, a tall and ancient alien with silver skin, leaned forward. His voice was cold. "Whatever it is, investigate. Send a fleet. If it belongs to a new race, we will bring them into the Dominion like all the others." The order was clear. Days later, a Dominion fleet of 10 warships reached the coordinates. Their hulls were sharp, black like knives, glowing faintly with green light. These ships had crushed dozens of civilizations. To the Dominion, this mission was routine. The fleet scanned the region, moving through empty space. At first, nothing appeared. Only stars, dust, and silence. Then, the signal grew stronger. And there it was. A small vessel drifted alone in the void. Compared to the massive Dominion warships, it looked insignificant. Its design was different, angular, metallic, not like any Dominion craft. The alien commander of the fleet narrowed his eyes. "Is this the source?" "Yes, Commander," his officer confirmed. "The signal comes from that ship." The commander almost laughed. One small ship. This is what troubled the Council. Pathetic. Prepare to destroy it. But before the Dominion could fire, the small vessel moved. Its engines burned bright, turning it toward the fleet. And then, something no Dominion had ever experienced happened. The ship transmitted a message. At first, it was static. Then, words formed, translated by the fleet systems into the Dominion's language. "This is the starship UNS Valkyrie. Identify yourselves." The bridge of the Dominion flagship went silent. A voice, calm, confident, and alien, was speaking to them directly. The commander frowned. "Open channel. Let us see what this creature dares." The view screen flickered. For the first time, Dominion soldiers saw the face of a human. The figure wore a dark uniform with a symbol on the chest, a circle with a small blue world inside it. The human's eyes were sharp, unafraid. "This is Captain Elias Kane of the United Nations ship Valkyrie. You are entering restricted space. Turn back immediately." For a moment, no one in the Dominion fleet spoke. Then the commander laughed, a cruel sound. "One ship dares to command the Dominion? Do you understand what we are? We are conquerors of 1,000 worlds. We are destiny itself." The human captain did not flinch. His reply was steady, like steel. "Destiny ends today." The Dominion commander sneered. "Destroy them." Weapons charged, green energy building on the Dominion warships. But deep inside the UNS Valkyrie, systems came alive. Strange energy patterns spread across its hull. Its cannons rotated with precision. The human ship did not retreat. The battle had not yet begun, but already the Dominion felt something they had never known before. It was not respect. It was not anger. It was fear. For the first time in their long history, the conquerors realized this would not be an easy victory. And in that silent moment, before the first shot was fired, the galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. The Dominion fleet floated in perfect formation, 10 massive warships surrounding the small human vessel. Their weapons were armed, their crews confident. For centuries, every enemy had surrendered before the first shot. To them, this would be no different. On the bridge of the Dominion flagship, the commander raised his clawed hand. "Fire on my command. End this quickly." But before his order was given, the human ship spoke again. "This is UNS Valkyrie. We are not your enemy, but we will not allow you to cross this border. Turn back." The Dominion officers laughed. A single ship giving orders to the Dominion armada? Impossible. The commander sneered. "You dare to threaten us? You are nothing. One vessel against the Dominion is like a grain of dust against a storm." On the Valkyrie, Captain Elias Kane stood tall at the center of his bridge. His crew worked silently around him, fingers running across glowing control panels. They were calm, but their eyes carried steel. Each of them knew the truth. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and far from home. But none of them would retreat. "Captain," his first officer, Commander Ria Torres, whispered, "their weapons are locked on us." Kane's voice was steady. "Shields up. Prepare to return fire." The Dominion commander gave the order. "Destroy them." Green beams of plasma lanced across the void, striking the Valkyrie's shields. The human ship shook violently, lights flickering for a moment, but it held. "Shields at 80%, Torres reported. Kane gave a single nod. "Target their lead cruiser. Fire railguns." The Valkyrie answered with fire of its own. 2 glowing slugs, accelerated to near-light speed, tore through the blackness. The Dominion flagship shuddered as the rounds ripped across its armor. Alarms howled on the alien bridge. For the first time, Dominion soldiers saw their ship damaged in a single strike. The commander's expression twisted into rage. "Impossible. One ship cannot." But before he could finish, the Valkyrie's secondary weapons lit up. Bright streams of missiles streaked forward, splitting into smaller projectiles mid-flight. The Dominion destroyers scrambled, their shields flaring as explosions tore across their hulls. One destroyer broke apart, a ball of fire consuming it in seconds. On the Valkyrie, the crew felt the shockwave but pressed on. The humans had drawn blood, and morale surged. "Target down," Torres said with a grim smile. "Good," Kane replied. His eyes never left the screen. "Let's show them humanity does not kneel." The Dominion fleet reeled in disbelief. Never in their history had one ship stood against them. Never had one ship destroyed them. Fear began to creep through the alien ranks. Still, the commander refused to accept it. "All ships, surround them. They are only one vessel. Numbers will crush them." The Dominion warships closed in, green energy burning across their hulls. Dozens of weapons charged at once. The void lit up with blinding fire as the Valkyrie was drowned in plasma and missiles. Inside the human ship, the deck trembled violently. Sparks rained from broken panels, smoke filled the air. A junior officer shouted, "Shields at 40%. Kane gritted his teeth. Hold steady. Activate the Aegis Protocol. Deep within the Valkyrie, hidden systems came to life. Strange blue energy spread across the hull, a second layer of protection shimmering into existence. The alien weapons slammed into it, and failed. The energy absorbed their power, dispersing it harmlessly into space. The Dominion commander's eyes widened. What technology is this? The Valkyrie struck back. From beneath its hull, a massive cannon extended, glowing with pure energy. The railgun fired once more, this time a special round, coated in experimental material. It tore through another Dominion cruiser like paper, breaking the ship in half. Cheers erupted across the Valkyrie's bridge. For the crew, this was proof. Humanity could fight back. But Kane remained calm. He knew this was only the beginning. "Captain," Torres said softly, "they're regrouping. More ships are incoming." The long-range scanners confirmed it. A second Dominion fleet was approaching, responding to the distress calls of the first. In minutes, the Valkyrie would face not 10, but 30 warships. The human captain narrowed his eyes. His voice was quiet but firm. "Then we'll show them what one ship can do before the rest of humanity arrives." The Dominion commander snarled, frustration breaking into desperation. "How can one ship resist us? What are these humans?" For the first time in centuries, the Dominion's confidence cracked. Their soldiers hesitated. Their weapons shook in their hands. They had seen a single vessel stand against their entire fleet and win. But the humans knew the truth. This was only the first encounter. The Dominion would not stop. The Empire would come with everything it had. And yet, in that moment, a seed of hope was planted in the cold void of space. For the first time, the galaxy had seen resistance. Not from a massive armada. Not from an ancient power. But from one small human ship, standing alone, unbroken. The Dominion fleets had suffered something they never imagined. One human ship, the UNS Valkyrie, had stood against them, destroyed their cruisers, and survived their weapons. Word of the battle spread quickly through their empire. To most Dominion officers, it sounded like madness, an insult to their pride. But to the Valkyrie's crew, it was only the beginning. Inside the human ship, engineers worked frantically. Panels sparked, hull plating had been scorched, and smoke drifted across the engineering deck. Yet, despite the damage, the Valkyrie was still alive. Its engines burned steady, and its weapons waited, ready for the next strike. Chief Engineer Marcus Hale wiped sweat from his face as he reported to the bridge. "Captain, repairs are holding. The Aegis shield absorbed most of the damage, but it won't last if they bring more fleets." Captain Kane nodded. "They will bring more. Count on it. That's why we're here." Commander Torres frowned. "Sir, with respect, one ship can't stand against an empire. We'll be outnumbered 100 to 1. Kane turned to face her. His voice was calm but sharp. "Do you remember what Project Aegis was built for? Do you remember why this ship exists?" Torres hesitated, then nodded. "To test the weapon." The bridge went silent. Every officer looked at their captain. Everyone knew what he meant, but no one spoke it aloud. The Valkyrie was not just a warship. It was an experiment. Hidden inside its armored frame was something the galaxy had never seen before. A weapon so dangerous, so untested, that even the United Nations fleet had hesitated to deploy it. But when the Dominion began their conquest, Earth had no choice. One ship was built to carry humanity's last hope. The captain's eyes narrowed as he looked out at the stars. They wanted to conquer us before we were ready. They made a mistake. Far away, in the Dominion capital, the council gathered again. The loss of ships to a single vessel had shaken them deeply. Their pride screamed for revenge, but beneath the anger was something new, uncertainty. One elder leaned forward. "We have underestimated them. This humanity is not like the others. They fight with fire even when alone." Another hissed in frustration. "It is one ship. One ship cannot stop the Dominion." But a third voice, quieter and more cautious, whispered, "If one ship can do this, what if there are more?" The chamber fell silent. That thought alone chilled them. What if Earth had built not one, but a fleet of Valkyries? The supreme voice of the council spoke at last. Send reinforcements. Crush this ship before it inspires others. And find out what weapon it carries. Back aboard the Valkyrie, sensors screamed with warnings. A second Dominion fleet was approaching, 3 times the size of the first. 30 ships, with heavy cruisers and carriers among them. Lieutenant Harper, the ship's tactical officer, muttered, "We won't last 5 minutes against that many." Captain Kane looked around the bridge. His crew was tired, bloodied, but their spirit was unbroken. He spoke firmly, his words carrying weight. "They think numbers will save them. They think fear will break us. They don't understand. Humanity does not bow. Not to empires, not to conquerors. We show them our strength. We show them what the Valkyrie was built for." He turned to his engineer. "Prepare the lance." The crew stiffened. The name itself was forbidden outside the highest security circles. The lance was the secret weapon, the reason the Valkyrie had been created. A weapon that bent the rules of physics, channeling raw energy into a single devastating beam. It was untested in real combat. Hale's voice was tense. "Captain, if we use it now, we might tear the ship apart. The power draw alone could." Kane interrupted, calm but iron-willed. "If we don't use it, there won't be a ship left to save." The Dominion fleet closed in, confident of their numbers. Fighters launched, spreading like swarms of insects across the void. Cruisers charged their heavy cannons, green energy pulsing in the darkness. The human ship stood alone. "Target their carrier," Kane ordered. "Arm the lance." Deep within the Valkyrie, massive reactors roared to life. The ship trembled as power was redirected into a long, sleek cannon hidden beneath its hull. Blue light gathered, growing brighter, hotter, until the weapon itself hummed like thunder. Dominion sensors picked it up immediately. Alarms blared across their fleet. "What is that energy reading?" one alien officer shouted. "It's unstable, off the charts. Nothing we've seen before." The commander growled. "Destroy them before they fire." Hundreds of plasma bolts lit up the darkness, streaking toward the Valkyrie. The ship shuddered, shields collapsing, hull plating melting under the firestorm. "Shields down to 20%. Torres shouted. "Hold steady," Kane commanded. His eyes were locked on the glowing weapon. "Steady." The light reached its peak. The lance fired. A spear of pure energy tore through the void, faster than light, hotter than any star. It struck the Dominion carrier dead center. For a heartbeat, there was silence. Then, the ship exploded, not in fire, but in a blinding wave that swallowed half the fleet. Smaller ships were ripped apart instantly. Cruisers cracked in two, their shields useless against the impossible weapon. On the Valkyrie's bridge, the crew shielded their eyes as the explosion lit the stars brighter than any sun. When the light faded, half of the Dominion fleet was gone. The rest drifted in chaos, their formations broken, their commanders stunned. Silence filled the bridge. Then Torres whispered, It worked." Kane allowed himself a thin smile. That was only at 40% power. Far away, Dominion survivors sent desperate signals back to the Council. Words like impossible, unstoppable, weapon of destruction filled their reports. The Dominion, for the first time in its history, had been humbled by a single ship. But on Earth, in hidden bunkers and command rooms, human leaders listened to the Valkyrie's reports with grim determination. The weapon worked, but at a cost. The ship was damaged, its systems strained, and its crew exhausted. And the Dominion had only just begun to fight. Humanity had shown the galaxy its secret weapon. Now, there would be no turning back. The Dominion had ruled the galaxy for centuries without challenge. Their fleets moved like storms, and planets surrendered before the first shot. But now, everything was different. Reports spread across their empire like wildfire. One human ship, the UNS Valkyrie, had destroyed entire fleets with a weapon no alien had ever seen. For the first time in generations, the Dominion Council gathered not to celebrate conquest, but to discuss fear. The council chamber was vast, shaped like a hollow sphere. A star map floated in the air, showing thousands of systems under Dominion control. At the center stood the Supreme Voice, the ruler who had led the Empire for over 200 years. His silver skin gleamed in the dim light, and his voice carried power that silenced the hall. "Speak," he commanded. An officer stepped forward, bowing his head. "The reports are true. The human vessel destroyed 2 fleets. Our cruisers, destroyers, and carriers were torn apart by a weapon beyond our understanding. Over half the ships were lost in seconds." Gasps and growls filled the chamber. Dozens of alien leaders shouted in disbelief. "Impossible! One ship cannot do this. It must be lies." But the supreme voice raised his hand, and silence returned. "The Dominion does not lie to itself. We must accept the truth." Another counselor, tall and insect-like, hissed angrily. "So what? It is one ship. They cannot fight us all. We will drown them in numbers." A smaller, more cautious voice answered from the shadows. "Numbers do not matter when fear spreads faster than fire. Our soldiers whisper of this ship. They call it the Spear of Humans. If one ship can stand against us, what if there are more?" The chamber fell quiet again. That thought alone made even the proudest counselors uneasy. On a lower level of the chamber, military commanders debated furiously. General Karth, a reptilian giant with scarred skin, slammed his clawed fist against the table. "We are wasting time. Gather the armada and crush them. Burn their worlds, erase their race, and end this nonsense before it spreads." But Admiral Selvek, his rival, shook his head. His 4 eyes blinked slowly, filled with caution. "And if they have more of these weapons? If every human ship carries such power, we may risk our fleets in vain. We must learn more before we strike blindly." Karth snarled. "Coward! Dominion does not crawl in fear." Selvek answered coldly, "Dominion survives because it chooses battles wisely." The counselors watched, divided. Pride and caution fought inside the chamber as fiercely as any battle in space. At last, the supreme voice spoke again. His tone was heavy, almost troubled. "Perhaps we have underestimated these humans. We believed them weak because they were young among the stars. We believed them soft because they had not faced us before. But they have shown something no other race has shown." He paused, his gaze sweeping the chamber. "They resist." The word hung in the air like a weapon. The Dominion had conquered hundreds of species, and not one had fought like this. Not one had stood unbroken. Another elder leaned forward. His voice was quiet, but it carried through the chamber. "I have studied their history. They are not an ancient race. But they are dangerous because they fight even when hopeless. They have destroyed themselves in wars on their own world. They build weapons not only for defense, but for survival. They are different." Murmurs filled the chamber. Some counselors looked uneasy, others angry. "So what do we do?" one asked. The Supreme Voice's eyes glowed coldly. "We answer their defiance. We show them the weight of an empire." He raised his hand, and the star map shifted. A glowing red marker appeared over the human home system. Sol. The chamber darkened as thousands of warship icons filled the map, forming a massive armada. The Council's decision was made. "We will gather our greatest fleet," the Supreme Voice declared. "We will march to their world and burn it to ashes. Humanity will be an example to all who might resist us." The chamber roared with approval, though not all were convinced. Admiral Selvek remained silent, his 4 eyes narrowed. He knew the Council's pride blinded them. Still, the order was clear. Meanwhile, on the UNS Valkyrie, the crew prepared for the next encounter. Repairs continued, but spirits were high after their victory. Yet Captain Kane knew the truth. Victory had cost them dearly, and more battles were coming. Torres studied the latest scans. "Sir, the Dominion fleets are pulling back from this region." Kane frowned. "Pulling back?" "Yes." "They're regrouping. They're planning something larger." The captain's jaw tightened. "They've realized brute force won't work. Now they'll bring everything they have." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. A single ship, no matter how powerful, could not face the full strength of an empire. But Kane's eyes burned with determination. "Then we make our stand. If they come for Earth, they'll find a planet ready to fight." Back in the Dominion Council, The final words of the supreme voice echoed across the chamber. His voice was filled with pride, anger, and fear hidden beneath the surface. Prepare the Armada. Let the humans learn what it means to challenge the Dominion. Let them see our true strength. And when their world burns, no one in this galaxy will ever dare resist us again. The counselors bowed their heads, the decision sealed. But in the quiet spaces of the chamber, some leaders whispered to each other. What if they win again? What if one ship was not the end, but the beginning? The Earth system shone like a blue jewel in the darkness of space. But the beauty hid a tense anticipation. Humanity knew the Dominion was coming. The largest fleet the galaxy had ever seen was gathering, and its destination was Sol. In the orbital command center above Earth, alarms echoed constantly. Screens glowed with the positions of incoming alien ships. Planets had never faced this before. Entire fleets, massive warships, carriers, and destroyers were converging, each armed to destroy Earth. Captain Elias Kane of the UNS Valkyrie stood at the head of the command room. The Valkyrie had returned, damaged but still formidable. Its crew, though exhausted from previous battles, prepared for the most important fight of their lives. Commander Torres walked beside him. Sir, the Dominion Armada is 3 days out. They have 10 times the firepower of our fleet. Kane nodded, his jaw tight. Numbers don't win battles. Courage and strategy do. Prepare all fleets for deployment. Earth is not surrendering. The humans had been preparing for this day for decades. Civilian ships had been evacuated, planetary defenses upgraded, and orbital cannons were ready to fire. Scientists had pushed technology beyond known limits, and engineers worked tirelessly to repair and enhance Valkyrie's weapons. The first wave of alien scouts arrived. Small fighters darted through space, probing humanity's defenses. Anti-fighter lasers lit up the void, burning bright against the darkness. Valkyrie's guns tore through the incoming scouts with precision, each shot measured and deadly. But the Dominion did not send scouts by accident. They were testing. The real attack was still days away. And when it came, it would be unstoppable. Kane walked along the bridge. All hands, listen carefully. Today, we fight not just for ourselves, but for every human on every world. Hold the line, protect Earth, and show the Dominion the cost of underestimating humanity. The crew responded with quiet determination. They had seen impossible battles before, but this was the ultimate test. 3 days later, the Dominion Armada arrived. Thousands of ships blotted out stars in their path. Energy weapons charged, glowing green and orange across the void. Their formation was perfect, designed to crush any defense. Admiral Selvek of the Dominion fleet observed from the flagship. He had argued caution in the council, but now, standing among the Armada, he felt a twinge of fear. Even numbers could not erase what they had learned from the Valkyrie. One ship had already proven humanity could fight. The fleet began its assault. Massive beams of energy tore toward Earth's orbital defenses. Cannons fired, trying to intercept, but some ships broke through, striking satellites and space stations. Explosions lit the void, debris spinning in a deadly dance. The Valkyrie moved into the fray. Kane's crew targeted the largest Dominion cruisers. Railguns fired, missiles launched, and the ship's secret weapon, the Lance, was ready but not yet used. Each strike from Valkyrie tore through enemy shields, sending ships spinning into destruction. On the surface, civilians watched from bunkers and evacuation centers, their hearts racing. Though far from space, they could see the flashes of the first battles. Earth had prepared for centuries, and now humanity was finally seeing the price of survival. In orbit, human fleets coordinated seamlessly. Smaller ships flanked the Valkyrie, creating a protective barrier. Missiles streaked past alien defenses, striking carriers and fighters. For every human ship destroyed, the Dominion lost 10. Despite the chaos, Kane remained calm. His eyes scanned every screen, predicting enemy moves and giving orders with precision. Target their left flank. Concentrate fire on the cruisers. Valkyrie ready the Lance. Stand by for final strike. The Dominion commander's voice boomed across space. Crush them. Do not allow one species to defy the Dominion. But the Valkyrie was ready. It was more than a ship, It was the embodiment of humanity's courage and ingenuity. As the battle escalated, the Dominion's mothership appeared. It was massive, dwarfing even the largest human warship. Its weapons could destroy entire cities in moments, and energy shields glowed like a storm around it. Torres whispered, "Captain, that ship, it can wipe out the planet itself." Kane nodded. "Then we stop it before it can fire. Deploy the lance at full power. Everyone, brace for impact." The Valkyrie charged, weaving through enemy fire. Smaller human ships provided cover, absorbing blows and creating openings. Missiles struck, cannons roared, and the lance glowed with unimaginable energy. At the perfect moment, Kane fired. The beam of energy tore through the void, striking the Dominion mothership dead center. For a moment, silence fell. Then, a wave of light and fire erupted, spreading across the armada. Ships exploded, shields collapsed, and the Dominion fleet staggered under the strike. Humanity had turned the tide. The battle raged for hours. Valkyrie's crew pushed the ship to its limits, destroying cruiser after cruiser. Human strategy and courage overcame numbers again and again. Finally, the Dominion commander realized the truth. One ship had already decided the fate of the battle. The mothership, crippled and burning, retreated. Surviving Dominion ships fled in chaos, their formations shattered. For the first time in centuries, the Empire had been defeated. The Valkyrie's hull was scorched, systems strained, and crew exhausted, but they had won. Humanity had survived, and Earth remained safe. The battlefield was silent now. Stars twinkled in the void, but the scars of war were everywhere. The Dominion fleets had been shattered. Smoke and debris floated in orbit, remnants of ships that had once carried thousands of conquerors across the galaxy. On the bridge of the UNS Valkyrie, the crew surveyed the destruction. Systems were damaged, panels sparking, alarms still blaring intermittently. Captain Elias Kane stood tall, though exhaustion weighed heavily on his shoulders. "Status report," he said quietly. Commander Torres stepped forward. "Shields are down to 10%. Engines are operating at 30. We've destroyed half their armada, but the mothership escaped. Its firepower could still threaten Earth if we don't finish this." Kane's eyes narrowed. "Then we finish it. Valkyrie, this is the moment humanity proves itself. Prepare the lance at full capacity. We're going in." The human fleet held behind the Valkyrie, providing cover as the damaged ship surged forward. Every officer knew the stakes. The Valkyrie was more than a vessel, it was a symbol. If it fell, hope might fall with it. The Dominion mothership loomed in front of them, massive and deadly. Its energy shields pulsed like a heartbeat, and weapon ports glowed ominously. Thousands of Dominion soldiers waited, confident that one ship could not possibly survive. The Dominion commander's voice echoed across space. "You dare follow me to my heart? You will be annihilated." Kane's reply was steady. "Humanity does not kneel. We fight, no matter the cost." As the Valkyrie approached, the first volley of weapons struck. Plasma bolts tore across the hull, explosions shaking the ship violently. Crew members held on, red lights flashing, alarms screaming. "Hull breaches on decks 4 and 6, shouted Lieutenant Harper. Kane gritted his teeth. "Hold steady. Brace for impact. Fire the lance on my mark." The human fleet fired everything they had to keep the mothership busy. Missiles streaked, railguns blazed, and fighters swarmed around the massive alien ship. Each strike weakened its shield slightly, but it was still too strong to take head-on. Then Kane made his decision. "This is it," he said. "We hit it with everything. Prepare for a kamikaze run. Valkyrie will not survive, but neither will it let them threaten Earth again." The crew fell silent. They had trained for this moment, but no one could ignore the danger. To sacrifice the Valkyrie meant sacrificing themselves. Torres stepped forward. "Captain, are you sure?" Kane nodded firmly. "It's the only way. Humanity fights. Even when hopeless. Even when we must stand alone. Engage the lance. Lock it on the core. Full power." Deep within the Valkyrie, the lance roared to life. Energy surged through the ship, shaking it from stem to stern. Lights blazed, systems screamed, and the very metal of the ship hummed with power. "Now, Captain!" Torres shouted. The Valkyrie surged forward, dodging missiles and energy beams, weaving between the mothership's weapons. The lance fired, a spear of pure energy brighter than a star, piercing through the massive shields of the Dominion vessel. For a moment, silence. Then the explosion came. The Dominion mothership disintegrated in a wave of fire and energy. Smaller ships nearby were caught in the blast, destroyed instantly. The remaining Dominion forces scattered, terrified, no longer confident. Humanity had shown them what courage could achieve. On the Valkyrie, the ship shuddered violently. The lance had drawn too much power. Systems failed one by one. Alarms screamed, lights flickered, and the hull groaned. "Captain, we're losing control," Torres yelled. Kane gave one last order. "Crew, prepare for ejection and evacuation. Valkyrie will not survive." "But we've won." Crew members activated escape pods, launching themselves into space. Some would survive. Some would not. Kane stayed at the helm, ensuring the ship remained on target until the very end. The human fleet cheered as the Dominion forces fled. Earth was safe, for now. But all knew the cost. The Valkyrie, the ship that had turned the tide of war, was gone. Its sacrifice had saved billions. As the escape pods scattered in orbit, Kane transmitted one final message across the void. "To all who witness this, humanity is not weak. We will fight. We will endure. And even in the darkest hour, one ship can change everything." Back on Earth, people watched the reports of the battle. Cities erupted in celebration, but there was also mourning for those lost. The story of one ship, one crew, and their courage spread like wildfire. Humanity had survived not by chance, but by will, ingenuity, and bravery. Far away, in the remnants of the Dominion Council, fear lingered. They had underestimated humanity. For the first time, they faced the truth. Resistance could not be crushed by numbers alone. One determined species, one brave crew, could defy an empire. The galaxy itself had changed that day. The legend of the Valkyrie would echo through the stars for generations.